All right, we're glad to have you with us today. I'm Brooke Salazar with Apex Benefits, and I'm with my colleague here.
I'm Katherine Bryant.
Katherine, what do you do for us?
I am a compensation consultant with Apex.
Now, we're just going to do what we normally do. Is there any craziness in the house that we should be aware of today that may come running through?
Yes, I have a toddler and two dogs. One, which is an 11-year-old dog, so a young 11-year-old though. So I never really know what's going to happen with her on a day-to-day basis. And then a Springer Spaniel who's under 1. And then I also have a husband who is also unpredictable with whether he's going to, run down here. And my doorbell just rang for the first time in over a month. I still have no idea who it was. I didn't answer the door. So who knows? There might be some background noise of some squeals or barks or whatnot, but
Listen, you'll have that. Here it's pretty quiet. If you hear the dog crying or whining, it's because or like right now, I've trained her that whenever I get on the phone, she gets a treat to stop the crying. And so now she just hears my voice or myself on a business call and she will instantly come up and start crying. So if you see me just randomly passing out dog treats, that's what's happening.
Good to know.
Yes. So if we're looking forward to something, which I think we all are, in this post-pandemic, what's it going to look like? So what is work going to look like? How are we going to get back? What is the new normal? What are you thinking, Katherine, especially with total rewards and compensation and flexibility?
I think there's a lot of different things that this can mean for total rewards going forward. One is obviously there is this huge workforce that's working from home and working remotely now that previously was not. And I think that that's a benefit that a lot of people wish that they had or have asked for, and maybe it wasn't available or realistic for the company at the time. So I think now is a really good time to, as an employer, to think, okay, is this something that we can offer ongoing? Is this something that our employees, both current and future, will appreciate, or at least want to have that choice of, hey, yes, I'm going to work from the office 3 days a week and then 2 days from home. Of course, now everyone is kind of, anxious to get back to work. But I think having that choice is something that we can really dive into right now to see if it's working for our workforce, understanding that productivity, how people are liking it, if they're, feel like they're having successful days when it comes to their work. So, yeah, thinking about that as an ongoing offering within your total rewards package, the ability to work remotely.
Do you think that's because I know we had talked about that a lot with millennials. Do you think because of the pandemic that it's affecting workforce cross-generationally?
Absolutely. I think that there are lots of people, at least that I've spoken to, that are probably surprised on whether they like working from home or vice versa, or if they're like, oh, actually, like I thought that working from home all the time sounded amazing, and now that I don't have another choice, I'm like, I don't like this at all. For example, my dad he'll work from home like every now and then, especially if we're maybe like on a family vacation. He's got to get on some calls, and it wasn't always his thing. Once he got like super situated, he was like, all right, like I can do this. But now that that's the norm, he's like, oh my gosh, I actually, really like this. So I think it goes across different generations. Some friends that are in my generation are like, oh my gosh, I like cannot wait to get back to the office. I thought I would want to work from home 24/7. this is terrible. Like, I need to have the flexibility of whether I want to go in or whether I want to work from home. So I think that people are surprising themselves with how they feel about it. And of course, the fact that the choice was taken away is playing into that too, because that's really the most important key, is having that choice to provide people of where they work.
What other non-cash comps do you find, or do you think that companies are going to discover, organizations are going to discover in this moment that could carry forward?
Definitely flex time too. Obviously, everyone there's homeschooling going on, there's e-learning going on, there's just working in an environment that maybe wasn't totally prepared to be your home office, especially if you have other people who live with you, and you might not each have their own personal space. So working around that and working together with those obstacles, I think that flex time is going to see definitely an uptick, because I think that there's probably more people than not that are proving that they can still go above and beyond, get their work done, and have that, the flexibility with their time of when and where they work.
I think that's interesting. I also think, especially right now with the remote working, I think onboarding has become really interesting. And so where we were, brainstorming, how do we keep in touch between the signature of the offer letter and the start date, and how do we incorporate people into our culture, that now that it's remote, people are really thinking outside the box. So whether that's donuts on the start date delivered to home, whether that's Starbucks, or whether that's a note just so you keep in contact, I think those things are really interesting. And in this time, I hate to say, necessity, and I don't even remember the quote, and ingenuity, but I think if we can hold on to some of these tangible benefits that folks are having and coming up with and developing their ideas, I think it could be really beneficial.
I agree. I think there's a lot of extra personalization that's going into some of these things too, especially with onboarding, whether it's, recorded messages from the CEO that are not just reused and reused and reused. They're, catered to that person who is joining the team, because the people who are joining new teams, I mean, there's a lot of anxiety around that too, starting a new role in kind of these unknown times. So I think when leaders go above and beyond, and when HR goes above and beyond and personalizing that, it's going to help take some of that edge off, for those new employees. But I agree, donuts. I mean, I'd be thrilled if someone, maybe that's why my doorbell rang earlier. Maybe there's donuts waiting out there. I mean, probably not, but
wouldn't that be nice that if every time there was somebody at the door, it was donuts?
Right.
Or like some other good thing.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Instead of, usually it's just the random, pre-COVID, just the random window salesman, lawn guy, bug guy. And usually it would always happen when I was on a call. And now if they stop by, I would be like, are you sure you don't want to tell me about your life? What's going on with you? What was the best part of your day? I actually did try to do that to an Amazon guy yesterday, and he did run. So there's that. Yeah.
I looking forward to when things get back to, I shouldn't say normal, but the new normal, whatever that might look like. But I think that there's a lot of things that people have been more or less forced into right now that we could spend going forward, and integrating those into something that's positive, something that's part of, again, that total rewards package or that employee value proposition that you set forth. But yeah, time will tell.
I think the biggest thing that I'm seeing, at least right now, is the connectivity. That connectivity leads to engagement. And we know that engagement leads to productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And so watching organizations come up with really innovative ways to stay connected, I think is really interesting, especially, I mean, I think I've seen more of my coworkers at remote happy hours now and colleagues that I would ever see in real life happy hours and, team building, things like that. So I think it's dynamic, and I hope we can hold on to that in the new normal.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's really kind of, again, forced us to go back to prioritizing communication with each other and not just getting through the day and, just on the grind all day, every day. And so I agree. I hope that's something that we can take forward with us and that becomes part of the new normal and, a positive way that's still, productive. But yeah, those are definitely some of the things that I have found to be positive about this, is just reconnecting with people, both in my personal life too, like friendships, or we've done Zoom calls with a bunch of our old college friends who, the last time that all of us were together, were with someone's wedding, like years ago, and so it's just things like that are heartwarming and definitely helps you see the light at the end of the tunnel. But
well,
but I think these are all, I think these are all things to think about and to really look into during this time, to think about, okay, here's what's working, here's what's not, and here's how we can maybe continue this and put it in a positive note to our employees going forward.
I think that's great. Well, on that note, I think it's that time. So we should probably get back to it. But I just want to thank everyone for spending a few minutes with us, and this was fun. Thank you, Katherine.
Yeah, thanks.